Hello everyone. First of all, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. It's been a crazy chaotic year for everyone, I think. It's so important to take these moments with our friends, families, loved ones, whomsoever, and appreciate our presence and the love that we have in this world. It's such a rare gift and it always deserves celebration. So, as always, wishing you all nothing but the best. With that being said, I am here today to talk about Final Fantasy XIV on video number 100. Man, that's quite the milestone, and it's kind of appropriate that I be talking about this several hundred-hour game on this big milestone for me. I referred to this game in a past video as a pilgrimage, and boy oh boy does that properly encapsulate this journey that I've gone on for well over a year now. I find it hilarious that I prematurely thought that I finished the game. Of course, when you see a credit roll, you think, hey, like I finished the game, right? No. I remember texting my buddy and him replying, "Are you sure you finished the game? Did you finish all the post-credit content?" No, I did not. This message was sent back in December 2022, and here we are a year later, though for reals now, I have finished it. And my god, what an experience. I think it's interesting to do a video about it today in 2023, or 2024 almost, roughly 10 years after the game's launch. Yeah, I'm super late to the party, and the question always has been, is it worth it? Are you actually enjoying this experience? Honestly, for the most part, I'd say it's a resounding yes. Do I think it's perfect? Hell no. Like I mentioned, it is a bit of a pilgrimage, and by that I mean you're gonna go through at least 100 hours of some, frankly, pretty mundane fetch quests. It is a massive blocker for a lot of people because they just don't have the time to invest into this kind of massive MMORPG experience, but it is a necessary barrier to get across because it just sets up the entire world events of what is going to be happening later in the series. Indeed, it feels like the whole premise of A Realm Reborn is to set up this foundation for what is coming next. I'm genuinely shocked at how many political quests there are in this game. Essentially, you're this champion who helps out all the neighboring nations to work together, coexist together, help with their own affairs, while there's this looming threat in the distance. And that feels like it's only a seed that's been planted, is only slowly starting to bear fruit at the end of the game. I won't go into any spoiler details, of course. It really feels like the entire narrative progression of Realm Reborn is this massive layering of web of events, of these conspiracies, and by the end of the game, it feels like Eorza is this tinderbox that's just ready to go off at a moment's notice. And boy, does the story, the post-credit content that is, it ends on quite a cliffhanger going into Heavensward. There are so many twists and turns and some pretty shocking events that transpire that honestly leave me hungry for more. I will say that the sum of the parts are much, much greater than the individual pieces. Once again, a lot of the quests are very mundane, if I'm being honest. The worst, most bare bones kind of fetch quest where you talk to your NPC who gives you the quest, you go to place B to either speak to someone or sometimes even interact with a crate and then go to point C and mission complete. Literally that for hundreds of hours. Though I don't want to overgeneralize because I'd say, I don't know, maybe like 60 to 70% of the game's quests maybe do fall into this kind of more boring category, but the other 30 to 40% are actually kind of spectacular. Reaching to the end of A Realm Reborn, both the first half, if you will, and the second half, there's some pretty incredible sequences that happen that honestly would rival some of the best narrative and epic gaming combat sequences you'll see of that respective year, which came out back in 2013, if memory serves me well. The boss fights are larger than life, and the actual core gameplay itself I found to be super engaging, which once again was that recurring question I would get from my friends and especially my colleagues at work. The base gameplay, do you find that enjoyable? And frankly, it is a resounding yes. I personally chose to main as a paladin, so I started off as a gladiator, did that whole quest line, did the whole paladin quest line as well, at least thus far that is available in A Realm Reborn. And I really do like the moveset and the abilities that you unlock. I do find that maybe the quests themselves, narratively speaking, were okay at best. And I also delved into the rogue and then later evolved into the ninja class, which I found to be very invigorating, and it brought a meaningful variety to the gameplay. And I like just how completely different they do play. I dabbled in a bit of a few other classes, but I didn't really spend too much time to it because already I invested 212 hours into the game, which is plenty. I did all the blue quests that were available on top of the main scenario quests, of course. I left all the regular side quests completely to the side. Maybe it did start off at the very beginning of the game, but I don't think it's nearly enough worth it. I don't want to invest that kind of time. Already, like I said, 212 hours in the first expansion, mind you, is plenty. So at the risk of making this video overly long, To wrap up my feelings about A Realm Reborn, and to answer the question if it's worth playing it today, how I feel going into the next expansion, do I feel exhausted or not? Honestly, I really enjoy my time. Yes, of course, the fetch quests were a bit draining. I'd say that was the case most in the first 60 hours or so of the game, but later on, I really got into the flow. I really got into the events that were slowly building, the characters that I'm slowly getting to know that are surprisingly charismatic, and I feel that with time, I'll only grow to love them even more. The soundtrack was great as well, which is something I forgot to completely mention. And as far as visually the game goes, I do think it looks lovely. I'm actually surprised at how good this MMORPG looks, and I really do like the cinematic quality. The voice acting is good as well, and I really do like the architecture and the world building. It is quite fantastic to go through. Once you actually do unlock your mountain ball where you can fly through the world, it's actually quite exhilarating to explore this world, and I really do feel like I have a intimate knowledge of the events, the people, since I spent so much time in it. Once again, the gameplay is super engaging, and the boss battles are epic as hell, especially some of the later ones. I can only imagine what's waiting for me in the later expansions, and indeed, to answer that final question, am I excited for Heavensward? Hell yes! So much has happened at the end of A Realm Reborn. It really does feel like the seeds that have been planted throughout this entire massive experience are only beginning to bloom now. So yeah, I think in 2023, my feelings about this game are super positive, and I'm gonna go for a solid 7.5 out of 10. I think there's plenty of room for growth, and from what I've tasted, I feel that there's so much potential that will materialize. Maybe that is partly being colored by the fact that we already know that the later expansions are super well received critically, but honestly, even just brainwashing myself and putting that aside, what I've experienced in A Realm Reborn, I really do have this premonition of these massive events that are looming in the horizon. So yeah, Heavensward, here we come. Man, what a journey. 212 hours. And I'm still super amused the fact that I thought I finished the game like 100 hours earlier, only to realize like, oh no, I have a lot of content still to do. Yeah, that was a bit of a shock, but hey, you know, it is what it is, and I really did enjoy my time with it. So that is all for today. I'm probably going to be taking my time to put out this video because hey, I'm on vacation, I need the break, and I've got a lot of games to play, movies to watch, friends to see, food to eat. My god, have I eaten a lot. What can I tell you? Polish Christmas, the food coma is real. Regardless, let's bookend this video as we started. I'm wishing you all a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, and a Happy New Year. Let's make 2024 the best it can possibly be. Take care and talk to you soon. Bye now.